Hey, how you doing? Justin here. This is part two of my catching up with Pete Thorn, a great guitar player based out in LA. And most of you probably saw that previous video where we had a look around his new studio, which is super duper cool. I'm really jealous of his setup here. And we thought in this part two that we'd actually get Pete to talk us through how he might go about setting up to record the guitar.
So here we are in the live room, and we're going to look at speaker cabinets and how I kind of approach miking cabinets. I've got a Sur 112 here, and it's got a Weber Grey Wolf speaker in it, a really cool new speaker that those guys make. Basically, I like to use a combination of mics, and usually pretty close up on a cabinet. I don't do a lot of distant miking. I have this room now, so I might kind of experiment with it, but for the most part, close miking seems to get me the results that I want. So I'll tend to blend a Shure SM57. That's a mic that it's just kind of the old go-to standby, and they are for a reason. It always delivers, and it delivers a cutting, bright sound that always cuts through a mix really well. It's just very sort of guitar friendly. So I've always got that in the mix for sure. This is an SE VR1 from SE Electronics, and it's a ribbon mic. It has a very warm sound, but it's flat almost out to 20K as well, which is unusual for a ribbon mic. So it's got nice clarity. So it's just a really killer mic for guitar. So I will blend the ribbon generally and the 57 together to get my overall. You can kind of blend them and get the sound that you want. A little more of one, a little more of the other one, whatever you like. Sometimes I might just favor just using one of them. That could be just the ticket. You never know. And the way that I place the mics is generally anywhere from say an inch to 2 inches from the grill of the speaker cabinet. And this has a speaker right in the center here. So what I like to do, if you can imagine, the dust cover of the speaker is right about here, the cap in the middle. I'll kind of put the mics on either side of that. So if sometimes for certain sounds I might do a 57 dead center or the ribbon dead center, but my default 80-85% of the time what I'm doing is putting the 57 and the ribbon just kind of on either side of the center of the speaker. And right now I would say that they're maybe an inch back from the grill, which is pretty close. Something that will sort of determine how close you want to get to the cabinet with the mics is something called proximity effect. And all mics have this kind of, most mics have this natural sort of bass boost the closer they get to the cabinet. So what you want to do is make sure that you're getting this nice balance of that direct, fat, in-your-face guitar tone without getting too much of, maybe it might get a little woolly if it's too close to the cabinet. So then you can just back the mic off and just experiment with it. But that's it generally. That's how I kind of approach miking a guitar cabinet. And that's the same for a 112, a 212, a 412. Just pick one of the speakers that you think sounds best and move them around a little bit, record a few examples, see what works, and that's it. You'll notice I got the cabinet sitting on sandbags. That's the best, I think $1.50 that I ever spent, because they isolate the cabinet really well from the ground and kind of cut down on rumble and stuff like that. And they're almost free. They're so cheap. 50-pound sandbags. So got those at the hardware store. Yep. Okay, so we're back in the control room now, and we're looking at my screen here. I've got Logic up, a session, and over here I've got my API A to D mic pre's. So I've got you saw the mics on the cab in the other room. One pre is the ribbon mic, and the other one over here is the 57, and I'll send that into my digital audio workstation into Logic and open up 2 tracks. And basically I'm most of the time I'm tracking 2 tracks for everything I do, the ribbon and the 57, and then I've got some options, sometimes too many options. I'd like to be able to sum both mics a lot of times to 1 track, but I don't have any kind of summing system, so that'll be something that I'll be looking at getting down the road, so that I can kind of simplify things a little bit. But yeah, basically it's just the 2 tracks running right into Logic. Okay, so you can see my 2 tracks up here that I've got in Logic. I've got one's the SE VR1 ribbon mic, and then I've got the other one for the 57. I've got a gain plug-in inserted here on the 57 track. And why do I have that? Well, you can pull it up, and basically there's a little switch here that allows you to flip the phase of one of the mics. And that's nice when you're using 2 mics. You want to make sure you're not getting too much phase cancellation. And so you can just push that button right there, and then you're gonna flip the phase of one of them. And if things cancel out almost completely, then you know you're actually in the right ballpark. And With the two mics on the cabinet, what you want to make sure is that they're basically lined up. You want to have one, like, once you start moving one quite far back from the other one, say anywhere from, I don't know, just a few inches, you'll start to hear the mics phasing with one another, because the sound is reaching the two mics at different time. And you'll start to get a sort of a comb filtering sound. Could be beneficial. I mean, you might want to use that in you know, crafting a guitar tone. It can be kind of cool. It can sound kind of like you added some interesting EQ to your track or something. But generally, what I'm looking for is the fullest, fattest tone out of two mics, and so you're going to want your mics in phase. Yeah, this plugin comes really handy for that. Okay, so one of the other things I do on guitar sounds a lot is a high-pass filter. So I've got an EQ open here, and you can see that I'm kind of cutting everything below, well, it's 90 hertz that I'm cutting. So you can kind of slide it around. What you want to do is sort of cut all the low end, you know, below frequency that you just don't need in your sound, essentially. So if you're playing sort of a, you know, sort of rock guitar tones and whatnot, you have like a heavier tone, you're not going to want to cut it off too soon. So maybe say 80 hertz or 90 hertz, something like that. But if you're playing a cleaner sound and you don't need all that low end and that thump in your sound, you know, you can maybe take it up as high as, you know, 120 or 150, something like that. And what ends up happening is you make all this room in your mix for other instruments like the bass and the kick drum and stuff. And it just using a nice high pass filter on not just guitar but on a lot of tracks in your mix will help clean things up and make things sound a lot less cluttered and cloudy. So that's a really cool trick. EQ is really important, and when I'm crafting guitar sounds I tend to do the high pass filter thing, but also I'll cut a lot at, say, somewhere between 200 to 300, 350, something like that, 350 hertz. 250 kind of being the magic number for me. That's just a cloud frequency in a lot of ways on almost everything. So a lot of times I might you know, grab another you know, bit of the EQ here and maybe pull down at say 270, something like that. And you can of course make it kind of a narrow cut and just, you know, right now that's what that looks like if I'm cutting 2.5 dB at 270. But yeah, what I'll also do is maybe play the guitar sound and like play the track I've recorded, and then after the fact I'll maybe boost where I think the problem frequency might be and boost it quite high, and then kind of sweep it around like this, and I'll listen for where the massive cloud comes in. You know, you can hear it like all of a sudden come over your tone. You don't want that. So you center in on that frequency and then just kind of give it a nice gentle cut. And this is something you want to do before you add high end every time. So instead of boosting high frequencies, you know, 3K, 5K, 8K, something like that, try cutting lows first. And the net effect is what you're going to hear is your guitar track get much clearer, and it's almost like you boosted high end, but in a more, I don't know how to say it, in a more, it's just a better way to do it, to clean up your tracks and whatnot. So, all right, well, thanks, Justin, for coming to my studio and checking it out.
It's been a pleasure, and just an amazing kit, man. That's awesome.
Thank you, and thanks for checking out our little talk on you know, crafting guitar tones and whatnot. And you can check out Justin's website. It's justinguitar.com, and your YouTube channel is
Justin Sandercoe. Sandercoe.
He's got a fantastic YouTube channel with lots of lessons and cool interviews with different artists like Steve Vai and Brian May, I think.
And Pete Thorn.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. But really glad to finally meet
Dude,
you. And,
absolutely, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right, take care. See ya.
Later.